So sometimes you can get stuck in present thinking. Now this can work with you or against you, because if you're thinking of the present moment in a negative way, present thinking may not actually help you. But if you think of the present moment in a positive way, then it can help you. But I want to talk about today how I figured out how to stop negative present thinking and think about the future instead. Not in a negative way, but in a positive way. Because if you're just thinking about now and you're thinking of it in a negative way, if you're thinking, oh, I can't do this now, I can't do that now, well then you're just disrupting your future. You're disrupting what you need to do next. So you need to figure out how you can think of the next step, but also think about what you can do now. So let's get straight into the video.
Get to know me personally with my one-on-one coaching. First call is absolutely free, so check that link out in the description after this video.
Now you might be thinking, Jaden, aren't you saying that you shouldn't be present? No, I'm not saying you shouldn't be present. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that in the moment of your thinking, the way you framed it in your own head, it's not a good way to think about it. So I'm trying to change that thinking, because I used to think that all the time, the way I used to think about negative present thinking. Yeah, I always preach that it's good to be present, it's good to think of the now. But if you're framing that in your own head in a negative way, then you're not actually moving forward. It's not actually changing your life trajectory. And that's why some things on my channel might sound contradicting, but it's not that it's contradicting, it's that I'm trying to get into your own head and trying to think that the way you may think, to be able to counterattack that, if you get what I mean. So right now, you might be in a state of not understanding how to see the future. What do I need to do to see what's next in a positive way, not a negative way? Because if you're thinking of too much of the now, and you're thinking of you're thinking of how you want to feel good now, then you're not thinking about your future self. You're not thinking ahead of time. You're not thinking of how you're going to feel in the next 5 years or 3 years or 2 years or even month. I'll give you an analogy, because I love analogies, because it best describes what I'm trying to explain. So pretend you have 3 machines and you're working on a machine at maybe at work. Say you're like a fitter and turner or something. And those 3 machines, you're constantly having things break down. You're constantly having things go wrong. To a level which you can still manage, not like to a crazy extent. But say your boss always gave you a list. Okay, this is the problem with this machine. That's a problem with that machine. Fix all these problems. And you're constantly thinking about that list. You're just thinking, okay, how can I improve? You're not thinking, how can I improve this machine all round? You're just focusing on how I can fix that problem now and then, right? So you go to fix these 3 problems, but then 2 weeks later, other problems show up. So wouldn't it be better just to focus on one machine at a time? Try getting it as perfect as you can. Try to see all the flaws. Look at everything. Look at the whole machine and try improving it as best as you can. Then it's going to run more efficiently for, say, 5 weeks. Oh, that's a leaf. 5 weeks instead of 2, right? And then you can move on to the next machine and focus on that. Get the most focus out of it, then that's going to last 5 weeks. Then get the best out of that next machine, then that's going to last 5 weeks. Then, guess what? You have 3 machines that you don't have a full list of things to do on them. Instead, you made them 10 times better just because you put a bit more focus and you sacrificed another machine. You sacrificed the second machine Maybe that machine was down for another week just because you're focusing on that more. But in the long term, you've actually created less work for yourself, and you've made this first machine run more efficient so that you could focus on the next. And that's why I always stress about delayed gratification. Why delayed gratification is important, and why you should be focusing on how it's going to improve you in the future and not how it's going to improve you in the now. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's why I stress about negative present thinking, because if you're thinking in a negative way now, that's just going to snowball. You're just going to create more problems in the future. You're not delaying gratification, you're actually making it worse for yourself. So you need to know, how can I delay gratification, do things that might feel a bit more positive in this moment, right? Do something that's a bit more positive in that moment, even though it kind of feels like it's not positive. Instead of thinking of something in a negative way that's going to negatively affect you further into the future. It's going to make you even worse into the future. Instead of kind of feeling bad in that moment, thinking positively for the future. You get what I'm trying to say? I hope you do. And that's where, with myself, I used to find it really difficult to see what was next, see into the future, see what was coming, because I constantly was putting myself down, feeling negative in that moment, in the present moment. So it wouldn't actually move me forward and make me prepared for the future. It actually did the opposite. It didn't make me prepared at all. It just made me think negatively in that present moment. And then when I went to the next thing, I wasn't prepared for the next thing at all. And then it was like this constant spiral, like constant problems, constantly going, why haven't I improved this aspect when I've been through that? And now I'm in the future and I still can't see what's next. That's why, because you're not actually preparing yourself for the future. You're not giving the opportunity to fix the whole entire machine in that moment. Instead, you're just trying to do a little bit of a fix and then go on to the next thing. You're fixing the machine a little bit here, even though it's a little bit, I think that's good enough, and then you go into the next thing. No. Try to focus and hone in on that one machine. Try to make it as good as you possibly can, so that when you go to the next machine, there's no stress about that machine before. That machine is in pristine condition, and that machine is going to run for weeks and weeks and weeks without a breakdown. So a way to resolve this problem is by thinking, what do I not want to do right now that will improve my future? What do I feel like doing? How do I feel? And how can I get rid of that feeling so that it doesn't negatively affect my future? Because just because you feel like doing that now, just because you feel like you need to do it, doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. You always have constant battles in your own head about the way you feel inside. It's not about how you feel, because if you went to the shops and you feel hungry, what are you going to do? You're going to buy the entire store. Then after you start eating and feel full, what are you going to think? Oh, I actually didn't need those things, because it was just me thinking I was hungry that made me want to buy the entire store, just because it was the way I felt, not because it was logical. And that's a big point of which I try to explain on this channel. You've got to find a way to stop thinking how you feel. It's not about how you feel. It's about what is logical and what is reasonable. So to put it simply, how can you improve your present thinking to become more positive so that you can see the future easier? How can you do that? How? You've got to really think about this, because that's an answer that I haven't even been able to answer myself. It looks like I have, but it would be really hard to describe in every little detail how I've improved this, because it's more about the way I frame it in my own head is how I've structurally changed my thinking to be able to think in the future. But it's took a long time. It's took a while. And if you're not constantly trying to build yourself, doing new things, doing things that scare you too, doing things that feel uncomfortable, that might actually improve you in the future, that's when you'll truly start to understand what I've just said. That's your next step. Try to do something that scares you. Try to put yourself in a uncomfortable situation that you know will make you become better in the future. Even though it's scary now, even though it feels like that you don't want to do that right now. So yeah, I think that's the end of this video. Like and subscribe to watch more educational content about autism and how to be an independent young man on the autism spectrum. Anyway, thank you.